Hi everyone, this is Margaret Manning with 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. My guest today is Dr. Margaret Rutherford. Dr. Margaret is a clinical psychologist. She works in the United States in Fayetteville, I think it's Arkansas, for the last 20 years. And she specializes in anxiety and depression, and also has a blog where she talks about all kinds of topics related to midlife, relationships, depression, reinvention. So I'm really happy to have you here, Dr. Margaret. Thank you.
Thank you. It's delightful to be here.
Thank you. You know, we have done a series of interviews, you and I, together about issues related to anxiety, depression, living as a single person in a couple's world. We've talked about lots of friendships, but I know that you're working on something very special. And I wanted to talk to you about it. Really, I know that you can't tell us too much about it because you're in the middle of writing this book. But I was so intrigued by the topic that it's going to be about that I wanted you to share with us, just very generally, what it is you're working on and why you think it is so important.
Yes. I call it perfectly hidden depression. Mm-hmm. And it's it's a new way of thinking about depression. Yes. I wrote a blog post about 2 years ago, and I called it The Perfectly Hidden Depressed Person, Are You One? Uh-huh. Well, about 1,500 likes and I don't know how many shares later, I was just blown away.
Yeah.
And what I recognized was, and I was writing about, sorry, I didn't finish that sentence. What I was writing about were patients that I have seen who have had trauma happen in their lives or just bad family situations, alcoholism, whatever. And they'll walk in my office and they talk about it and they've got a big smile on their face. And they tell me how active they are in the community and they've got great lives and they don't really know why they're even in therapy. And so if the thing that's important, Margaret, is that that underneath all that is really the same kind of depression that other people, but they have devised a very strategic plan to hide it. And unfortunately, those are some of the women who statistics are showing us now that there's a growing percentage of women, startlingly growing percentage of women who are killing themselves after the age of 60. Yeah. So I'm writing a book about perfectly hidden depression. I have lots of posts about it on my website. Yeah. I'm excited about it. It's gotten, I think it's going to fit a niche because it's so important to actually see through that facade and get to the depression underneath.
I am so glad you shared that. I'm very excited to see this book because I think you're absolutely right. I mean, the suicide rates for our generation, for the boomer generation, they have skyrocketed since, I think, 1999 till 2010. Mm-hmm. It's dramatic. And I mean, some of it can be, economic, some of it can be just social, but I'm so happy you're digging into this. It's very important. And one thing I was going to add, which is just my own thought about this, is that Facebook, for example, is a great tool. I love technology, but people are only encouraged to be positive.
Right.
It's all, my life is just like this beautiful little crystal ball of trips to the park and, beautiful sunsets and the kids doing well at school. And people very rarely talk about something that's upsetting them or depression or something and it's not the context for that. But I
posted something on Instagram that I'm doing interviews right now with people who have identified with perfectly hidden depression. And something someone said to me was, I won't kill myself because my family needs me. And I asked her, what happens when your family doesn't need you anymore? And there was just this silence on the end of the phone.
Wow.
I posted that. I posted a quote on Instagram. And the response I got from somebody was, oh, welcome to spring. I really don't want to think about this. So, because I just posted it a couple of days ago.
No.
So you're right. People don't post what is really going on with people. And I want to help people recognize that there's another kind of depression out there, and you would never guess that it existed. But it's alive and real, and it's only because of the stigma still associated with mental illness, and probably what the person learned about avoidance of pain, or that it was shameful or wrong or weak to talk about any kind of problems or trauma. So I want to try to rectify that and reach those people, because they need to be reached.
I am so glad you're doing this. I think you've got a long journey ahead of you. I don't believe this book is going to be ready for several years, or, I mean, I hope it's out soon, but I think you've touched on a nerve. We wrote an article in fact, one of our guest bloggers wrote an article about depression just a few days ago, and it had an amazing number of replies and comments. And I think you're right that once you uncover this, this hidden dimension to it, that people can't even admit that they're dealing with it, you're going to have a lot of people, coming forward and helping people, which is great. What is your plan for? Sorry, go ahead.
I've developed a questionnaire,
Yes.
and I'm validating it right now with these people, and it's doing pretty well. It's a way for people to self-identify whether they have perfectly hidden depression or not. So pretty soon I'm going to have that out there for the public to take. And right now I have an agent. We've approached some New York publishing houses. There was great interest. Since I'm a psychologist from Arkansas and I've not written a book yet, they're going, well, we're not sure. And so I'm doing things like this with your kind generosity to try to build my platform and do more. So,
well, that's fantastic. And if you ever feel inclined to write an article for 6 Me about that topic, just feel free to do it, because you'll get quite a bit of response that might help you at a point that it's appropriate for you to do that and share some of the even survey that you've mentioned. So
now is the time.
Okay. Well, let's talk about it. That's for sure. Well, look, people that are watching this video, and I think from just a short conversation, you understand what Dr. Margaret is doing. If you think you fall into that category, or that you just would like more information, just leave your comments. This video will appear in an article, and underneath the bottom of the article, you can just leave a comment. So let's just start a conversation on it, and Dr. Margaret will jump on and listen to what you're talking about, and we can help her with this really important book.
Thank you so much. That would be great.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for all your time and your insight. It's been really nice to meet you and to talk with you. Thank you.